Erica from My Two Cookies here. Let's talk about piping the perfect circle. Now, if you've ever decorated cookies before, you probably know that circles are the worst. For some reason, it's really hard to keep them symmetrical, and your eye can tell, and they're really hard to hide sometimes. So let me give all of the tips that I can think of that help me to pipe a circle, and hopefully it'll help you too. If you're piping a circle on a circle cookie, you're gonna want a cookie that is baked as close to a perfect circle as you can get. Now, in my online courses for baking, I go into greater detail of how to bake cookies that hold their shape. And it has to do with the recipe and lots of different tips. But let me tell you a couple things that are specific to circle cookies. One thing you can do is when you take your cookies out of the oven, while they're still warm, before they've cooled, take a metal cookie cutter. You don't want plastic in case the plastic can melt, or like a larger glass, something round that is bigger than your cookie. And you're just gonna place it over that, touching your tray, and give it a little spin. So you're just kind of doing little mini circles, just going around the cookie. Your cookie's gonna rotate in the opposite direction. And that just helps tuck in the sides, fix any wonky areas, and help you get that perfect circle. I do this all the time. Another thing you can do is after your cookie has cooled, you can grab a microplane or a zester, or something that you use to shave off the rinds on a lemon or a lime, something like that. And you can just file away the edges that are kind of sticking out more than the other, and you can shape your cookie into that perfect circle. Now that you've shaped your circle, you have a good guide for piping the circle. Now, I like to hold my piping bag in my hand like this, in my fist, and I use my other hand as sort of counter pressure. So I'll either put my finger on the bag or on my wrist or hold my wrist. That helps stabilize things so you're not so shaky when you go to pipe. You could also lean your arm on the edge of the table if that helps you. You just kind of find what is most comfortable for you. Now, something that helps me, particularly with circles, is not moving my wrist. Now, if that's easier for you, you can do that, but it's a little bit unpredictable for me. It changes the angle of the bag. I like to actually hold my wrist steady and stable and move my arm. That way my bag kind of stays pretty much in the same place, and I just move my arm around that circle. If you've watched my other video on piping straight lines, this is going to be the same idea. You don't want to stay next to your cookie. You actually have a lot more control if you tack the icing down and then lift up and off of your cookie. And that gives you time to just sort of lay it down. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But really quick, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any delicious cookie content. Now, you don't want to start with a big glob coming out of your bag before you even start, because you'll put that glob on your cookie. So you're either going to want to pinch that off or wipe it onto a paper towel. And then you only need the tiniest little bit coming out to anchor it to your cookie. You can start anywhere in the circle. I tend to start on the upper left area because it helps me to get a feel for the circle by the time I get to the hardest part, which for me is this bottom right area. So again, make sure you don't have a lot coming out, just the tiniest little bit. So I only squeeze enough just to have a little dot to anchor down. And then once that's anchored, go ahead and lift up and off of the cookie, and maybe squeeze a little if it's not coming out, or if your line is breaking, you might need to squeeze a little more. And it just takes some practice of how fast to move your hand, how big the hole is in your bag versus how much you're squeezing. And all the way along, I'm just hovering above the cookie. It gives me some time. You notice I can go slow. It gives me some wiggle room to decide where to lay it down. Then as you get to the end, stop squeezing, because you don't want a big glob as you get to where you started. So don't squeeze a lot, lift up, squeeze a little bit as you go around, follow that cookie nice and slow. Then as you get to the end, start coming down towards your cookie and letting go of your pressure. And that just takes some practice, but that's the idea to piping a perfect circle on a cookie that is shaped like a circle. And here's another idea if you're having a hard time ending your circle without a big glob. Instead of coming down to meet where you started, you're just going to touch it and run past it and come inside of the cookie. That way you don't have to worry about how much pressure or where you're coming down with your bag. You just keep going and just end it somewhere inside the circle that you're going to flood over anyway. And that could be easier for you. So something else you can try. And then you can always take a toothpick or a scribe and just smooth out any little globs or bumps. Most likely it'll get covered by the flood anyway. That's it for now. Hope that helps you to pipe the perfect circle. Let me know how it goes. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Hey, test. We're gonna be doing a quick little, who's we? Me. Now if you've cooked decorators before, now if you've ever cookied decorators before, did it again. Like and subscribe so you can miss out on cookie content. You don't miss out on any Christmas. That's it for now. Thanks for